The episode we're recording is about seasonal depression. So I'm flipping through these and I was depressed. And then I was depressed. Oh, great. Awesome. That's how the cookie crumbles. Models that eat. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl Phoebe, aka Pojo. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm joined by a homie, a baddie, a creative professional, someone I always look to when I'm down in the dumps. My friend Bianca Castellar Calvani is here with me today. She is a model, photographer, creative director, the ultimate multi-hyphenate, and there's no one better to join me. We've been on this rocky road of life together for, almost 10 years.
That is so crazy.
I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but Bianca, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hello, guys. It's always good to be in conversation with Phoebe because I feel like, and we've definitely said this after every single phone call, I just feel so charged after talking to you because it's like, we really get it. You know what I'm saying? The vision, the path forward, even when things are foggy. So we kind of just are able to ground each other.
Absolutely. We were definitely each other's rock during COVID. We were on many a FaceTime, many a days. But also beyond that, we met, it's so crazy to think about this. We met at an industry event on a rooftop. WMag?
Oh my God.
Was it?
It was W Magazine's Who's Who party.
Wow.
And if I'm not mistaken, with the emotional support olive.
She's got the emotional support olive, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, you see we always have our food pillows.
It's so cute and it's so comfy. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was like the first big party that I had ever attended in New York. So me and Talia weren't living here at that time. So literally when I pulled up, I was like, I have to find girls that give off a really good vibe and just stick with them because I don't know anybody here except my sister. And then I literally saw you and our friends, our now friends.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be best friends with this girl forever.
And look at this. Look at that.
Now almost a decade out. It's so crazy. It's crazy. Time really flies.
I know. It's so insane. And we've been through so many things in this decade, but I'm very, very happy to have you on. I feel like you're a part of this rebirth of Models That Eat in so many ways. We did an amazing shoot together for Models That Eat earlier this year, which is coming out. Very exciting. Yeah. And today we actually are speaking on a topic that we know a little bit about.
Phoebe had to call in the professionals.
I really did.
For this one.
'Tis the season of depression.
Yeah.
Shout out all the hot girls that are sad because feel you, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Speaking of buying t-shirts, you guys should check out the new Models That Eat hats. Link in the description. Anyways, nothing to do with depression though. We have definitely had our fair share of depressive periods, episodes, whatever you want to call it. But I thought we could have a nice little candid convo today, considering seasonal depression she's here.
Oh,
she's arrived.
The sun setting early has knocked the wind out of my sails. The fact that the sun is setting, I still have access to those fun things, but I feel this low is crazy because I can't imagine what I must have been doing to pass the time in Virginia. I genuinely can't remember. I was probably reading manga, but
Bestie, you were reading manga and going to Target.
Yeah.
Which isn't not a banger. I think that's a pretty lethal combo if you do want to
if I really think about it now, because you've seen my library, you're right. I was reading a lot, going to Barnes & Noble. Second and Charles isn't everywhere, but it's a chain that has collectibles and stuff. Mm-hmm. That was my version of trying to find some type of break from the routine or the thoughts that pop into your head when you're, done with work, you're not doing anything, you're sitting by yourself, there's nothing really for you to do. But since I've moved here, I'm oh my God, there's so much for me to do to occupy my mind and my time and be productive and put good things out into the world. But even then, the sun setting early has really done a number on me because also, as you know, because I'll text you back at like 1 p.m. Good morning, girl. I'm a night owl. So like me waking up.
I didn't even realize that.
Me waking up late. Like the sun is, I have 2 hours.
No, babe, it's
worth of the sun right now.
Better, whatever you have to do in daylight, you better squeeze it into this finite period. I definitely feel, the 4:30, it's dark outside situation is one thing. I think also we're actually having a cold winter in New York this year, which last year it was warm. It was warm.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't here for the most part.
So I think my seasonal depression didn't really hit last year. So this year it's hitting super hard because I'm actually feeling like it's winter as well. Yeah. But also pretty prone to depression. So that doesn't really help my situation.
Well, my usual routine, because I'm originally from Puerto Rico, is I go home for the holidays. But this year...
Oh, so that just kicks the depression out of your body. You're like,
so it's like...
Yes, island time, let's go.
For the most part, I go back home. Yeah. I spend a majority of my time with my grandpa, who everybody in my circle knows is like my bestie. We love chai.
We love.
But I spend time over there and, we also have the sun setting a little bit earlier, but like the environment is so different. It's tropical. And, I get to see my friends and my family, and I get to visit the places that I really loved in my childhood. So it doesn't hit me as hard. There's like a weird nostalgia that comes around Christmas time that does make me a little sad, but it's like a bittersweet sad. But what I'm experiencing right now is not even like bittersweetness coming from nostalgia. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in a really deep trench. Yeah. And I have no idea how I'm going to get out of it.
I'm smiling because same.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like we both have a really good sense of humor and we try to be very optimistic. So, some people might be hearing us having this conversation being like, girl, what the hell are you talking about?
No, but yeah, guys, if you are struggling with deep depression or dark thoughts, suicidal ideations, like obviously this conversation we're keeping very light today because we want it to be approachable, but please check the resources in the description below because we've been there in different ways. And what we can tell you, and I know it's hard to hear this, but like you're not alone, even though it's a very lonely journey and very lonely experience. And you do need to seek resources if you're in that place. So please, please, please check the description. You deserve a happy, healthy life. You're loved. You're loved by us. We know how sad the sadness is in different ways. And I think we've both gone through, I would love to talk about it a little bit today, like the different phases of depression. I could start and kind of go down the rabbit hole really quick with you.
Before you say that though, I love that you have different resources for people to go, seek out outside of just listening to people talk about their experiences because everybody does handle it differently. It's such an individual journey and it's such a subjective thing. Like you really can't apply a one-size-fits-all method on how to navigate it and get out of it. So 100%. Whatever you have to do that suits you to get through it, embrace that and use that as your tool or try new tools because sometimes there's like some quirky things out there that we didn't even know existed in therapy that actually help people work through a lot of things that they've been holding on to.
Oh, 100%. We'll definitely get into some of the things that have helped us navigate our depression. And I know also on that note, there are definitely going to be some people listening to this that are not even clocking that they're one of those people that need to seek help because you can feel so numb to depression. And I urge you, if you are listening to this and you're like assuming, oh, I'm not that person, like I'm just depressed, like whatever, like, and you're like, can't get out of bed or you're experiencing something that's like debilitating and maybe you're just so used to it, like take this sign as a reason to get up, go out for a walk, think about deeply like what next steps should look like for yourself because I mean, I had many opportunities to change my life and turn it around by like actually critically looking at my situation. And I'm very, very glad I did, or I had the right person say the right thing at the right time. So if you don't have that person in your life saying it, we're those people, babe. So
sometimes you need, it's like, well, actually, I'll let you continue because I have a lot of opinions about a lot of things.
We have many things to talk about. Before we get into the sad girl moments, I do want to do a quick taste test with you if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, so quick beverage interlude. I was at the grocery store yesterday and I was baffled. I'm not always the most surprised by how many new drinks hit the market, but the fact that every single healthy soda, in quotes, has pop in the name blew my mind. So I thought today we could do a battle of the pops.
So would you be down for that? Absolutely, because one thing about me, My iron levels are low, so I'm on like a vitamin C like high right now with my vitamin, because I'm like they pair really well together. It's a good carrier for absorption. Good.
So well, also quick note, they're all about the same price. They're all within $1 of each other, so it's like $2 to $3 range, like $2.29, $2.39, $2.69, $2.99. So that's what we're dealing with. So it wasn't a huge jump, but there were a couple different marketing schemes that I wanted to tackle. So I think we could just take a look at these, take a sippy, see which one we like the best. We can give our favorites. We've got Olipop, Pop Well, which I had never heard of, Culture Pop, and then Balloon Pop, which I had never heard of.
I've heard of 3 out of the 4, and I've tried 2 out of the 4.
Okay.
And I'm already a fan of this one, because it's like, I don't necessarily like
the Olipop
super sweet drinks, and I feel like Olipop is right there in the middle, just perfect.
You want to start with Olipop?
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Pop Well. We're going to go down the line.
Which I haven't looked at the...
I am liking the Pop Well. It's a true orange cream.
Olipop, you will always have a defender in me.
Oh, same. I mean, listen, people that hate on Olipop...
What's wrong with you? Because honestly... And it's one of those snacks, or not snacks, but it's one of those drinks where it's like... This is going to sound so stupid, but I feel like it's age appropriate, you know? Like,
for sure.
The nutritional aspect of it is so friendly to kids, adults, and old people. You know how like with older people, you have to be like, oh my God, it has too much sugar, I can't give it to them. Or with younger kids, it's like, oh my God, there's so many additives.
Or there's too much sugar and that kid's going to be bouncing off the wall.
And it's like super age-friendly drink. All right, Pop Well.
Hard to compare this Culture Pop, by the way, because it has orange mango.
If you want an orange cream drink that is very, very true to its flavor, this has nailed it.
I think the Pop Well is my favorite.
I am personally not a fan of the sweetness of the cream. So it's a no for me. I'm
also, I'm clocking the bubbles. I like the Pop Well.
Well, let me see. Let's do the Culture Pop.
Try it.
Oh, wow. I hate that.
Wait,
let me explain, because I'm super specific.
Okay, what?
As you're drinking it, you get a world of flavor. And as it travels to the back of your throat and down your throat, it tastes like sparkling water that is flavored like orange. I don't like that. I want the flavor to stay consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a trickster drink.
It is a trickster. Wait, hold on.
Trickster drink. One more time. And this is the Bloom Pop, which I've had before, and this one's pretty...
That one's pretty good.
Pretty standard.
Kind of basic, if I'm being honest. Gas noise is coming up. The girls are trying.
Yeah.
Probiotic soda does something to the body. Yeah. We are working through some things. There's many things we have in common. Yeah. But one of the things we have in common is that we went through some adult shit as kids. Yeah. To do my little depression synopsis, and I'm happy to dive into this on another episode in more depth, but I think it was a lethal combo for me getting into modeling, and the same year my mom got very sick. And when I think about where my journey with depression started, it started there. I'm very lucky my mom has been in remission now for a while, but she had stage 4 lymphoma when I was 13, and it was my first year modeling, and I remember I found out the first week of high school. I was so depressed for that first year. I remember like just walking out of school during class and being like, what am I doing here? Like I would just like leave. My school was very understanding of my situation because of modeling, and then also found that news out, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna let you do your thing. So I never really got reported for not attending, which I got lucky with, but I was so not good. In bed all the time, would just not go to school, would go to the city to escape, but then, I'm alone in the city, and obviously modeling is a weird space in general, so you're like constantly rubbing shoulders with stuff that's a little odd. I think like looking back, I'm very grateful that modeling came into my life at that time. I probably would be a very different person if I didn't have that outlet, but I had not experienced like that dark of a mentality. I think I was probably teetering on the worst side of depression. Yeah. At a very young age and not understanding it.
It's so much because it's like you just started a new phase of school, and that's socially a big deal in itself. Then on top of that, you're at a weird age where you're physically developing. And then on top of that, your parents who are like your rock, or we would hope that people have parents that love you as much as your parents
love you. I have amazing parents.
But it's like there were so many aspects of your life that were still heavily in development that were being impacted. There is no fight or flight. It's just fawn. And you shut down. And it's so sad because it's like that sticks with you forever. That tender age that you were at when you experienced that was always going to stick with you forever, whether it was what played out or if it had been a perfect reality where nothing happened and everything was great. You would have been, you know, even if you were thriving, it would have always stuck with you. So the fact that it was such an unfortunate thing and then back to back to back impacting you in different ways, it's like that would fuck anybody up.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to say fuck.
You're allowed to curse for sure. Free safe space. I know, thank you. And also I think I obviously have processed all of this in therapy, which we'll get into. But you know, I'm very lucky that I came out on the other side able to even talk about it today, because being 13, 14, 15 modeling in New York City is like actually like insane.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Before, because I know there's going to be people that don't know you personally.
Yeah.
Or people that would hear your story in general and be like, well, where were her parents? And it's like, I really don't think people underestimate, one, how, and not in like a they should have full autonomy because you're still a child, but I think people like, because when they get to a certain age, they forget what a 13, 14-year-old is actually like. And they don't realize how independent they can be. And they don't realize how when you're trusting a certain institution with your child, like, especially with the things that were happening back then in modeling that weren't normal to talk about. They were very like hidden and taboo. Like, when you're putting your trust in your child because you want them to further develop that independence and grow confidence in the world, and you're trusting that institution with your child, you're not really thinking the worst.
And also,
you know
they're not
saying?
even, and in my parents' defense, they were in fight or flight that
they're
entire
going through
period.
A lot themselves. Like, so it's like,
yes.
And I say that because when we get into the meat and bones of our experiences with depression, that's also a question that people have asked me when I talk about my journey. Where were your parents? I have an amazing relationship with my parents. It wasn't always perfect, but I have an amazing relationship with my parents. And I wouldn't change the way that my story played out for the world because I love who I am today so much, depression and all.
Same.
Because it's one of those things where it's like, do I like feeling depressed when I have a flare-up or episode? Absolutely not. But I've learned to live with it, and thankfully I can live with it because a lot of people can't, and they take drastic measures.
Yeah.
And also kids hide stuff, young adults hide stuff. That's why so many are struggling.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
People are so good at putting a smile on their face or just taking a different route, whether that is inclusive of a smile or not. They're so good at just staying in their own lane and doing whatever they have their mind set on in that moment that they think is going to help them feel better. Because I think that when you're talking about modeling, that for you at the time was your form of escapism. And I think 100%. When you're dealing with depression in a way where you're raw dogging it, and also this is a very like anecdotal like experience or perspective that I'm speaking on, because I don't want anybody to listen to this and be like, well, that worked for you and it's not going to work for everybody. These are really nuanced conversations. For me and for a lot of my friends, I've noticed that we have a trend of dedicating our passions to one or several things, outlets, that deal with escapism. You know, I love voice acting. I love reading. I love creating movies. Recently, I love modeling. Those are all different mediums of storytelling. Those are all different opportunities for me to step into someone who I'm not. Sometimes that can be unhealthy, but for the most part, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I can just forget about everything that's going on outside of that moment, outside of that story, outside of whatever message it is that I'm trying to get across. And I think that form of escapism is good.
Yeah.
Because you can unplug from the stress that comes with trying to self-regulate.
Yeah.
Like, and not everybody can self-regulate, but when you do understand what that is and how you have to do that for yourself, like, it's very draining to, when you're dealing with depression in the long term, have to constantly put yourself in check so that you can get through the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I I wanted to say all of that.
No, thank you for that. And your stream of consciousness with this.
Sorry, it's like so much.
No, it's on the nose, like on the money. Like I relate to that so much. And like you were saying, yeah, there's like this, you look back and I mean, I think we're all very protective of young people, young children. I think that's important, obviously, as society. We need that. And when I speak on these things, I don't mean to be like, my parents were absent. My parents were around as much as they could be, and they were on set for a lot of things that they could be too. But at when the sickness got to that point, there was a conversation around, hey, if you want to do this, like we have to have an arrangement with your modeling agency to make sure you can actually go to these jobs. You have to have someone there. My grandma would fly out with me to Milwaukee or somewhere if I had a big job with like a commercial brand or something. And I remember like those arrangements being made, but 100% like, and I'm very fortunate too. I never got into, transparently guys, I never got into drugs, heavy drinking, any of that was very prevalent in modeling and in high school. Like those were not things that I dabbled in. And I think a large part of that was having that escapism. Like I'm lucky my depression didn't send me on a spiral with addiction or anything bad like that. So I'm grateful for a lot of the weird things that happened in that way. But I want to hear about your journey too, because we grew up in very different places. I mean, growing up upside New York, like these are the types of things I was subject to, in proximity to a major city like that. When did you see like depressive thoughts emerge, or was there a phase or a chapter in your life that you started to identify it?
Not to get too dark, but I feel like there were so many things that led to me developing depression throughout my life. Because it's like, I don't want to sit here and be like, it all started the day I was born. But it kind of really does genuinely feel like I have always had depression. Like, I'm extremely high functioning. You've seen me in my spirals. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, for me, I've gotten to the point where just talking about it, for me, helps me feel better. Because I'm acknowledging that it's there. I'm observing it. And I'm letting it pass because I've gotten into the mentality of understanding that I am not these thoughts. And I am not always going to feel like this. And so for me, I really do just have to keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? Because I will always be okay, because that is what I'm going to will for myself. And in that sense, I'm delusional. But
no, I'm the same exact way, though.
Yeah. And so I won't get into all of the details of my childhood, but I had a very interesting upbringing. I did not always live in Virginia. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I left at a point where I was already in elementary school. So I think when I moved, I started second grade in the United States. And so I had always gone to preschool and started school in Puerto Rico, and I went to Catholic school. And that by itself alone really did a number on me.
And that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
And that explains everything that has come out of her mouth. She's Catholic. But no, that by itself did such a number on me. Growing up within the Catholic Church, navigating relationships with family members who were in my everyday life, who were traditional Catholics and handled things the way traditional Catholics do. It's not always the healthiest. Once I finally did get to Virginia, I think the biggest thing that kind of swept all of that away, whatever issues I might have had as a child, were completely overshadowed by the culture shock that I had moving to Virginia. And then at the time, because where I live, my residence in Virginia, where my parents still are, is not any different. Like, we've stayed in the same location, but the way that it is now is not how it was when we moved there.
Right.
It's diversified a lot. And so, when you're a child, you grow up around a very specific type of people all your life, and then you're hit with all these different religions and races and ethnicities and cultural practices. And also, like, Puerto Rico has always been a little bit behind. So, being born in 1997, like, it felt like I was, like, vibing with the version of what people here talk about when they're talking about the earlier 90s, because we're a little bit behind with technology. Right. So when I moved here, I was like, holy shit, there's so many things that people have access to here that I don't really see at home. And it was just like, you get this, like, sadness that comes out of, how much money your family makes and what you have access to in regards to, like, some smaller things, like the type of clothes that you wear. or, you know, more serious things that impact us, like our diets because of that. And so you develop a whole bunch of insecurities that, you know, when you're a kid, kids can be really cruel about. And so there was just so many things that it's just like a drop here and a drop there and a drop there. And the next thing you know, the cup is overflowing. Yeah. And all of that for me always led back to the way that I looked. Mm-hmm. So like what I ate, what I wore and how it fit, you know, my ethnic features, which for me, I've always been extremely pasty. So like my race had never been like a topic of discussion, but how hairy I was. And if you watch Natalia's episode, my sister, she talks about this. Yeah. And so it always led back to the way that I looked. And then you go back home where you're not dealing with these kids, but you're dealing with your parents. They're working all these jobs trying to make ends meet. You know, my mom's a stay-at-home wife. They don't have the patience at that time to address these issues how someone should, so that it doesn't stick with their child for a long time. And that eventually led to me like just going through a lot of things that made me rely on food for comfort. And next thing you know, I'm in high school and I'm weighing like 260 pounds, which there's nothing wrong with that if that's something that, you know, you can't control. But it was well within my control, you know, what I was putting in my body. But I was so lost in just comforting myself because I couldn't seek that through anything else, that it got out of control. And I had nobody really to like intervene and like sit me down and try to ground me in reality until way after I graduated. And then at that point I was 350 pounds and I was like,
It's so
now it gets to the point of medical intervention.
No, when you say this out loud, Bianca, it is so wild for me to hear it because I feel like I've watched you on this journey after, like the aftermath and like your journey to health and all these like, you know, you've made incredible strides and like you were saying before, really, really tough decisions at a young age to redirect your life and your health, which I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, because I feel like you met me. Oh my God.
And like, I forget when I met you, that's where you were. Like we were in high school.
Yeah, when you met me like me just like doing the rough math, just off the top of my head, because I'm sure if I actually look at it, I think it was like 2 years after I graduated high school. Yeah. And I had been working in the industry in New York since my senior year in high school, even though I started remotely, but like I didn't start actually putting my foot on the ground here and like trying to make myself known until senior year. I was very much in the thick of my depression at that time. And a lot of people, we've talked about this, but a lot of people, when I talk to them about that time in my life, it really does feel like a blur because even though I'm able to recall really, really, really happy things, I'm also only able to recall really traumatic things and then everything else is black. And so at that time, shortly after I graduated, there was a period of, I would say like 5 years where I'm not joking, I bed rotted all year. And then when September would come around, that is when I would get my ass up and come to New York for Fashion Week. Then I would go back home and then literally could not tell you what I was doing with my time because I was just letting it. I was literally, at that point, the mentality I was in was like, I just hope that someone can come and save me because there's nothing that I feel like I can do for myself right now. And so like, God bless my parents for giving me a safe space for me to go through all of those emotions because I feel like had I been in a household where my parents are like, all right, you're 18, time for you to go out into the world. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I also did not go to college. So disclaimer with that, did not go to college. So those years that would have been really important for my social development, I also missed out on. There was so many health issues that I was having as a result of over time, just letting myself go because it got to the point where when I did need medical intervention, you go through like this whole process where there are people who will seek what I did because they have mental illness, you know, or they have some sort of eating disorder. And so you have to go through a really rigorous process because the procedure that I got is the sleeve. They're cutting 80% of your stomach organ. So if you overeat during that recovery process...
Hard to imagine, by the way. Hard to even like fathom that statement.
I know, it's crazy.
80% of your stomach sleeve.
Yeah. So it's like a banana when you get the surgery, and that basically, if I'm putting it in layman's terms, it's like your body hits reset. There was a lot of things that happened as a result of that I was not educated about, which goes back to what I was saying earlier, where as a result of losing too much weight too fast, it did stress out my gallbladder. My gallbladder died. I had to get it removed. That's like a whole other conversation we could have for a whole other day. But that wasn't like the surgery itself. It was just the results of the surgery led to that. And I will always disclaim that, because I would not take back my decision at all. I have been able to reclaim my life as a result of making that difficult decision. And so I will never say I regret it. Like, yeah, I had a lot of issues that popped up after that, but I would never, ever take that back, because the life that I was living, aside from very specific things, was so rough that I can't even remember it. And I think that's such a shame, that there's so much time that is not wasted, but that I just literally can't recall or account for, because I was in such a dark place that my brain was like, we don't need to remember this unless it was really, really good or really, really bad. That. And I'm getting teary-eyed because I know I'm not the only one that goes through that. And it makes me sad, because I'm very lucky that I was able to get out of that. But a lot of people are not lucky. And that makes me really sad.
That makes me sad too.
But
we both got out of that.
Yeah.
I look back, I've told you this. I'm going to try not to cry. But I also, it's a safe space where to the cry. I know, damn. Shit, this is our first time crying on Model City. Not the last. But no, it's real though. I like remember, I went to meet up with some of our friends that I used to model with. And I remember sitting down with them, and they started bringing up stories from when we were teenagers, and I literally didn't remember most of what they said. And I remember I was at dinner with my boyfriend and my mom and my dad, and we were there, and my mom goes, oh my gosh, I think I told you the story. Oh my gosh, remember that shoot on that farm with the horses when you were in the dress on the horse? That was like, so cool. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I literally, it's like scary, but you also realize, like, shoot, I guess I wasn't supposed to remember that shoot.
I mean, it's I don't low key. Why, like when I go into the darkness of it all, it's kind of funny, because when someone's like well, when someone's recounting a memory to me, I'm sitting there like it's a fucking story time that I'm like locked in on.
And then she did what?
I'm like,
and then she did what?
You know, when girls will ask. I mean, I wouldn't know, but you know how girls like will ask their boyfriends like, can you please tell me in detail, like, what you thought about me the moment you met me, and what made you decide that you liked me, that you want to be... That's how I feel when someone's telling me a story, because it's like, oh my God, I'm hearing about myself. Like,
it's so out of body.
I'm
like, what did my sim do?
Oh my God, and then what did I do?
I was like, please do not hold me accountable for what my sim did in the past life. I don't claim her.
You know what? It's so weird that you bring that up, because I was literally just thinking, and I was having a conversation with Naya about this. Who shout out Naya,
we love you.
There are so many people that I went to school with that have recently moved to New York, and I have connected with a couple of them, and they were never people that I held animosity towards. I was just never close to them, so it was a little awkward, like being like, hey, like, because I don't know if at any point, again, I can't recall a lot of things, so it's like, I don't know if we ever really had a conversation where you told me certain things. Like, I just know that I went to school with you, and like I didn't have any ill
and it's like,
feelings towards you.
And also, I think people misconstrue that with like, I don't value you as a person because I don't remember you. Like, I have a very bad memory. I can't remember names ever.
Yeah, I remember
like,
a face.
My most toxic trait is I will literally hang out with someone multiple times and be like, what's your name again? It has to be a side effect of depression, because why else am I forgetting things at the ripe age of 26? Like that close in proximity, you know, like people I've literally interacted with, texted, follow online. I don't know. It's very weird. But I relate to all that.
What I was going to say though, was that something that makes me happy is, in a bittersweet way, is that when I talk to these people, they recount how I was and the small interactions that we did have. And they were like, you were always so funny, which I'm like, okay, period. I always have my sense of humor. But they were like, you were always so funny, and you were always so positive, and you always had a smile on your face, and like, you really just love making people smile. And that is really relieving, because in my mind, and even now when I'm going through like really rough thoughts, not that it should be like a big insecurity, but I'm like, can people see how miserable I am inside sometimes? And like, does that make people like not want to be around me? Because even though I am going through something, like I will never go into a room, especially if it's time to celebrate someone else's accomplishments or like to spend time with someone, or if someone else is going through something and they really just need me to be there for them, I'll never go into a room and make it about myself. So I never like want to see my friends or like have the opportunity to meet someone really cool and have that be off-putting. Not that there's anything wrong with like, you know, your demeanor being a certain way when you're going through depression, but like for me personally, I'm like, I never wanted that to impact me so deeply that like I was wearing it and then it was causing things to be harder. So it makes me happy when I do talk to people that they have really good memories of their interactions with me. And so that really keeps me as strong and positive as I possibly could be when I feel like I've been feeling recently when the sun is going down, like, oh my God, I'm immersed in complete darkness sometimes. And I don't know, like, when there will ever be a hint of light for me to figure out how to get out of this. But yeah, like that was definitely something that recently I was thinking about because I was like, wow, like sometimes I feel like we look back on ourselves in our darkest moments and you know, we're humans, so we say negative things about ourselves and we're like, I can't believe that you were like that, or girl, what the fuck, stand up. Like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. But it's like, we don't give ourselves enough credit for literally just making it through the next day and taking a baby step, because that baby step eventually turns into a sprint. And the next thing you know, you're at the finish line and you're like, well, if I could do that, I can fucking do anything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and you know, that's what was making me emotional earlier is that some people, like, they take that baby step and then because they haven't really moved in a long time, they see that they are losing their balance and they give up instead of pushing themselves to take the next step. And then they never get across the finish line. Some people don't. And it's a shame because life is so beautiful and even the ugly bits are a part of the human experience, which is a very wildly optimistic thing to try to embrace right now with how everything is. But the spectrum of emotion and having the privilege to experience it all is what I believe is one of our biggest motivators as beings to come visit Earth. You know what I'm saying? And so it makes me sad when people just give up on one end of the spectrum and all they know is sadness and despair and depression, because it really does get better. And I hate saying that because when people would come to my school and they'd be like, it gets better. I'm like,
t-shirts were right.
You don't know anything. You don't know shit. You haven't lived a day in my shoes. And it's like, there are so many people that experience these things that I'm like, not just for me, but for my friends who I know have also experienced them and have found their own way out. It might not look the same, but if we all have found a way out, then I know it is possible for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
And so, yeah, like it's kind of funny when I'm like, it gets better, because I'm like, fuck, I feel like a hypocrite.
Oh, baby, those t-shirts ain't. Like,
I feel like a hypocrite towards my younger self, where it's like I'm yelling at myself internally, and it's like, girl, I am you. Like, relax, we're here.
Exactly. No, I relate, and I love you, and I'm proud of you, because I know we both have been through those episodes together. Like, I'm not gonna do that to you guys.
But, wait, I wish I had this super. These are my natural nails, but I wish I had this super long nails where she's like, which I have kind of low key.
I love that. My nails grown out. Every time I'm on the podcast, my nails are so grown out.
I love that color though.
Thank you.
It's very Morticia Addams.
It's Morticia. Okay, so I guess to close off this episode, which this is not the last time we'll be talking about depression on the podcast, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I really think we should keep revisiting this topic because it's super important. Something that's, you know, very near and dear to me and something I live with and you live with. I think a lot of our friends do. Hot girls are depressed. I mean, shit.
I mean, honestly,
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm happy that, I'm not gonna lie, this conversation felt like just a stream of consciousness.
It was great.
But I feel like, again, just even hearing people talk about it is so helpful, because if there's anything I've learned, especially from being Catholic, it's a lot of people carry their guilt in silence. Mm-hmm. And there's so many things that lead into feeling guilty, but a lot of people like feel guilty about being sad. It's crazy because if you just turn to your left, your right, and you talk to whoever's standing there, and you're raw and you're honest, and you really find a moment to seek human connection, you see that you're not only not alone, but also there's nothing really to feel guilty or ashamed about or feel like embarrassed about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like so many people are just embarrassed to say, I am not doing good right now. Mm-hmm. There are so many people that have been made to feel, especially in the United States, the culture of hyper independence and grind, you know, the grind mentality that we have, that you just gotta pull yourself up by the bootstraps and lock in. And it's like, yo, sometimes the bootstraps are a little suffocating. Sometimes a bitch wants to take her boots off.
I just need a hug.
She wants to put her feet up and just breathe and try to relax. My feet are swollen. I don't want to strap myself up by the boots right now. So it's like, there's so many people that have so much shame because they're like, I should just be able to get up and keep it moving. And not in the way that I was talking about earlier, where it's just like, keep it moving. Because I'm giving myself a lot of grace when I'm keeping it moving. Mm-hmm. I'm just happy that I was able some days to just take a shower, brush my teeth, feed myself, and get in bed safely so that I can rest.
Yourself. Yes, everything you're saying, which if we're going to leave you guys with anything, I want to definitely leave you with a few things that we do to like keep ourselves and pull ourselves out of that like dark place. One, you have to eat, okay? You can't just sit around and snack or be like, listen, I love an Albanese gummy bear. Come
I know,
on.
they're so good.
You guys, you can't just eat this stuff. You need to nourish your body. Force yourself to DoorDash something substantial. Protein, I'm telling you, it's going to actually cure, I'm not going to say cure your depression, but it will pull you out of that funk.
Tis the season of depression. Tis the season of soup. You know what I'm saying? And soup is like one really affordable to make in bulk. I'm not joking. Like, for a lot of reasons, I'm like on a soup binge right now. Yes. But like, I literally make a giant pot. Yes, and whenever I want a snack, I just put it in my mug, heat it up, and
a good loaf of bread, toast it
and
up.
I'm like loading it with green onions
and
like
cheese and soup. You know you want that.
It's so good. But like, no, there's so many easy things that you can make that are. My soup is always bone broth based, so like I'm getting a lot of protein in. Yeah. But like, there's so many things that you can do that are super simple to just make sure that your body is getting the nutrition that it needs, because aside from our external world and everything being connected, our internal world is quite literally all connected, and your stomach is your second brain. So if your gut is off, your brain is going to be farther off. So if you're already struggling with depression, the worst thing that you can do is let yourself get lost in the loss of appetite that comes with feeling low.
You're going to be uncomfortable eating when you're not hungry, but you need to do it. And I know I'm not trying to force feed you this information. Yes, I am. This is very important. And then also we're both on weightlifting journeys, which we'll have to talk about in another episode. We just had Lexa Henwood on the podcast. She talked a lot about the importance of this. As women, I beg you to go to the gym and lift a dumbbell. Like, please. It will, seriously, if there's anything you can force yourself to do in a day, I mean, first, you better be eating. If that has to be number one, first and foremost, nourish your body. But two, if you can drag yourself out of bed, sad as hell, walk to the gym or get in that car and go to the gym, you will change your life. Like, this is, I mean, I vouch for this, and I vouch for women lifting, obviously men lifting, but societally, women are not taught to lift weights. And
I'm like, we need to stop focusing on making ourselves smaller and start talking about preserving our bone density, preserving and building our muscle, like our flexibility, you know, how important it is for us to move our bodies, and not just in a way that is going to make us smaller, but like I just started learning about, you know, fascia release and all that. So I'm just like, wow, like these are super important things that impact us throughout our entire life. Whereas just being, you know, a specific type of weight and having a specific type of look, it is all just a trend that exists for a certain amount of our lives.
Yes.
And for the most part has more cons than it does pros on our health.
Oh, for sure.
Me, you know, working out to just be super small and basically disappear so that I can appease someone else is really going to come back to bite me in the ass when I'm 65, 70 years old and I'm trying to play with my grandkids. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's old enough to have grandchildren.
Young granny, love it.
Young granny. But I'm like, you know, like, if there's anything that I will leave people with, is that it is that deep. You know what I'm saying? I hate the resurgence of it's not that deep culture. You know what I'm saying?
It is that deep.
It's
your
that
body.
deep.
It's a decision to buy into diet culture. If you want to shrink yourself and look as young as possible for the rest of your life, have fun with that, but you won't. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be chasing a narrative and a standard that is, I mean, just truly bullshit. Every time you see an ad that's like anti-aging, anti-this, that literally only exists because you're insecure about it.
Lacking the it is that deep mentality is, to me, a signifier of a lack of emotional intelligence. You're not as smart as you think you are if you're just going through life not giving a shit about anything. We're supposed to give a shit. More specifically, we're supposed to give a shit about each other.
And ourselves.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, when you just revolve the world around yourself, like, think about it. If you really woke up, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, I wish I was the only person in the world. You actually woke up in the world and you were by yourself. You'd probably see a lot of beautiful things in nature, right? But like, outside of that, what would you really have? And even then, the things that would make nature beautiful, like animals, they would be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world is meant to be experienced in community. And in order for us to build a healthy community, we have to support ourselves and we have to support each other.
Really, really glad we had this conversation.
Yeah.
I hope anyone listening to this got something positive out of it, whether at bare minimum, you're not alone in going through these things. And if you're somebody that is critical of what they consume online, you are inherently going to be faced with content that will be depressing and storytelling and narratives that are depressing. I really think this depression conversation on here, it's just the tip of the iceberg we're touching on today.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful you opened up and talked about it with me. So thank you so much for
always
coming on the
literally
podcast.
The biggest pleasure to be in conversation with you because I just feel like, again, you get it. So
you get it, babe.
I'm really happy that we were able to sit here and explore the depths
pull each other out of our depression.
Our stream of consciousness. I know, because I do feel better talking to you, and it makes me happy that I have the privilege of calling you one of my closest friends. Like, you're literally one of my best friends. Likewise. I know a lot of people get mad at having multiple best friends, but Phoebe is literally
5th grade.
I know. I'm like, Phoebe's in my little huddle, my pollito. Really excited to come back on Models That Eat and talk about an array of subjects that need to be explored.
Yes. Where can people find you in the meantime on socials?
Literally just look up my name on Instagram, Bianca Castellar Calvani.
Sexy name.
BiancaCastellarCalvani.
If you want more Models That Eat, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Please give us a review, by the way. It's my first time asking on the show. We are really excited to bring you more amazing episodes. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at models.that.eat. Get exclusive content from us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/models-that-eat. And I'm your girl Pojo. That's at Pojo on Instagram. And that's all, folks. Go eat something delicious today. You deserve it. Ta-ta. Love you, B. Cheers.